By the 10th year of his mission, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had endured a full decade of hostility. His followers faced daily mockery, severe economic boycotts, and violent persecution. Yet, despite an entire society coordinating its efforts to crush his message for 10 years, his movement survived. This image shows the dense, interwoven ancient structures surrounding the Kaaba. It reflects the reality of 7th century Mecca, a tightly knit tribal power center where surviving outside the established hierarchy was virtually impossible. His endurance during this decade relied entirely on two absolute pillars of human support. These pillars shielded his physical body from the ruling class and his mind from despair. But what happens to a person when the universe abruptly strips away their only sources of safety and tranquility in a matter of months? True vulnerability begins when the hostility of the outside world finally breaches the very last walls of your physical and emotional sanctuaries. The first pillar to fall was his uncle, Abu Talib. For 40 years, Abu Talib stood as a steadfast barrier between the Prophet and the wrath of the Quraysh, the ruling tribe of Mecca. This diagram illustrates the system of tribal immunity. Abu Talib's high status acted as an impenetrable boundary ring, keeping numerous hostile forces at bay and ensuring the Prophet's absolute legal protection. When Abu Talib died, that protection dissolved instantly. For the first time since he began sharing his message, the Prophet was completely exposed to the direct threat of physical harm and assassination within his own hometown. Surviving severe physical threats requires an anchored mind and heart, but that internal security was about to be tested next. Only months after losing his uncle, the Prophet lost his wife, Khadijah, the mother of the believers. The Arabic language describes her specific role in his life as sakan, meaning deep tranquility and comfort. She was the inner shield that protected his spirit from the world's relentless attacks. When he doubted himself at the very beginning of his prophethood, she was the first to believe in him. When Meccan society branded him a liar, she called him Sadiq, the truthful. Her passing left him emotionally devastated, stripping away his primary source of warmth during the cold, isolating desert nights. The simultaneous collapse of his legal protection and his emotional refuge plunged him into what is known as Aam al-Huzn, the year of sorrow. It was the absolute zero of human isolation. With Mecca no longer safe, the Prophet traveled to the neighboring city of Taif. He went in a desperate search for a new physical refuge and tribal alliance. Instead of offering shelter, Taif's leaders commanded the children to chase him out, pelting him with stones until his shoes filled with blood. Exhausted and severely wounded, he retreated to a private orchard. He sat completely alone, marking the moment of his total earthly abandonment. In this absolute despair, he offered the dua of the weak, a profound prayer of supplication. He did not ask for revenge against Taif. He simply complained of his own helplessness and vulnerability directly to his Creator. Stripped of all human pillars, this exact moment of total earthly abandonment set the stage for an ultimate divine intervention. At the precise moment when every earthly door slammed shut, the heavens tore open. The Creator offered a direct, immediate answer to the prayer made in the Taif orchard, the Isra wal Miraj, or the night journey and ascension. This chart shows the structural geometry of the miracle. The Prophet was taken from the absolute lowest, most humiliating point of earthly sorrow and elevated to the highest, most exalted peak of the heavens. He was brought to stand before the Creator. This physical journey carried a deeply personal message, reminding him of his ultimate worth and absolute divine backing. The physical elevation communicated a clear spiritual truth. Mecca and Taif may have rejected you, but the heavens have welcomed you. True resilience is never the absence of breaking. It is the act of surrendering to the divine when all human pillars inevitably collapse. The year of sorrow proves a universal reality. The darkest depths of human grief frequently serve as the exact launchpad for our greatest spiritual elevations.